They brought us to this country as a labor force. We built the foundation and they hate us for it. They hate us for it. We built the foundation and they ain't pay us for it. They ain't pay us for it, but they gon' pay for it. I already prayed for it. Non-believers didn't pray for us. Non-believers didn't pray for us. We're black and we built the foundation, stone by stone, generation to generation. Vultures said we had no culture. Them vultures got a Jay-Z poster. Them vultures got a lazy culture. Vultures eat what they didn't kill. Vultures sleep where they didn't build. They brought us to this country as a labor force. We built the foundation and they hate us for it. We built the foundation and they ain't pay us for it. They ain't pay us for it, but they gon' pay for it. I already prayed for it. Non-believers didn't pray for us. Non-believers didn't pray for us. We're black and we built the foundation, stone by stone, generation to generation. Vultures said we had no culture. Them vultures got a Jay-Z poster. Them vultures got a lazy culture. Vultures eat what they didn't kill. Vultures sleep where they didn't build. They brought us to this country as a labor force. We built the foundation and they hate us for it. We built the foundation and they ain't pay us for it. They ain't pay us for it, but they gon' pay for it. I already prayed for it. Non-believers didn't pray for us. Non-believers didn't pray for us. We built the foundation, foundation, foundation for it. We built the foundation, foundation, foundation for it. But they gon' pay for it.
Okay, so gentrification is the process where wealthier, higher income people move into historically disinvested, lower income urban neighborhoods, causing rising rents and property values, which often displaces existing, less affluent residents and charges the area's cultural character through reinvestment and new construction. Family, gentrification is the process where wealthier, higher income people move into historically disinvested, lower income urban neighborhoods. Higher income, wealthier people. Family, y'all ain't never think, how the hell is immigrants, legal and illegal, how the hell are illegal and legal immigrants that are coming from countries that sell fruits, how are they coming to our cities, gentrifying us when they make less? The definition says you're gentrified when wealthier, higher income people come into your neighborhoods. How the hell are poor, working hard immigrants looking for work gentrifying Black Americans who's already working own homes, renting homes in schools. How is that possible? They're not higher income people. They're not wealthier than us. They make less when they come here. They're on welfare. See, this is the stuff I think about. So when I told those dusty Pan-Africans I'm different, they're not on my level, I'm showing it. These are the things I look at. Like, how the hell is a goddamn uh Hispanic who makes $2 an hour, a whole bunch of them, um, gentrifying us? We got to make that make sense. So I'm going to attempt to make that make sense. All right. If you don't mind, first of all, we got to call in. How is it possible that immigrants who just got here, who ain't working, they come right on welfare, legal and illegal ones, they come right to welfare? How is it possible that they can displace us? How is it possible that they can gentrify us when the definition of gentrification says they are typically wealthier and higher income people? I'm going to put a poll in the chat. What would the poll say? Dang, I don't even know what what would the poll say? Uh, hey, family, let me ask you guys, how is that possible? No poll. I'm just ask you guys. Can somebody put the answer in the chat? How is it possible when the definition of gentrification are people who are less monetarily blessed than you? Well, I'm sorry, the people who are more financially blessed than you can replace you, displace you. How is it possible people who are less financially blessed than you can displace you, can come to your neighborhoods, take over, raise the rent, and they make less than you? They barely work. They're taking the odd jobs. They're Uber drivers. Like, no disrespect, but I'm just saying, because I know some Uber drivers, I met some, I got rides by some who either do what they do. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when they come over here, like, what license they get? They can't read English. Um, but the Uber drivers illegally, I suppose. Also, they're dishwashers. You take it like they're taking the low end jobs, especially the illegal ones. They don't have a birth certificate. They don't have a sponsorship. They can't get a job legally. So, and there's a lot of illegals. Like, there's a million illegals just in New York, over a million in New York. You feel me? There's a million in New Jersey. So how is it possible that, and these are the illegals doing better than us? How is that possible when the definition says it's impossible? Yes, sir. Keep in touch. Thanks for the super chats. Lane's love in the building. I appreciate it. Family, we need some answers. Peace, family. Power B. Peace to you. We need some answers. How is that possible? So this is something you got to ask people. So when I finally link up with Tariq Nasheed, these are the questions I'm gonna ask him, and this is what I'm gonna put before the family. This is stuff I think about. You dig? I consider myself a YouTube journalist. I take it seriously. As you can see, I'm a great researcher. Sister Ursa brought up what? She brought up 3/5 on a fly. I already knew what was that about. Nope, that's 3/5 compromise. That's not human beings. I explained it. I talked about phantom because I took it further. I broke down codes. No, codes are just city. That's city stuff. That's not state. That's not government, federal government. You feel me? And so when you say government, you got to qualify what government. There's 50 states. Every state has a government. So you got to say federal government or national government. That separates that government from a state government. So every time when I say government, I will qualify it with federal government, or sometimes I will say national government. But yeah, cities do ordinances and codes. States do laws, and the federal or national government does laws. So I'm trying to explain Ursa. No, codes, what you mean they're not lawful. They're not supposed to be. Laws hold more weight than codes and ordinances. On the fly, you dig? We know this stuff. But let's get some answers to how is it possible that these Hispanics that makes less than us can gentrify us. Well, that's a contradiction to the definition. Yep, $600 a rent, $600 a month. And you know what's funny? My city is like getting gentrified like crazy, and these homes that were owned by black people. Now also, family, this also sometimes happen too. Uh, they don't like the owner of homes. They never sell them to us. There's never like rent to own. It's just rent, 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 rent. And when they get the illegals over here and legal immigrants over here, I think that changes. I think they do rent to own or even whatever. I don't know how to get the money, loans and all type of shit. But they're getting the money to buy the homes that were not for sale for us. Okay. So you've been thinking the same thing, Angie. Well, it's time that we get some answers, right? It's time we get some answers. Janae, peace. Okay, so let's get some answers. All right. Here we go. So what they try to call this, right? So they don't call it gentrification when immigrants boot us out. They call it ethnic succession or immigrant revitalization. All right. Okay. You could change the terms around, make it sound more pleasant and more welcoming, but it's gentrification. All right. So they'll tell you resource pooling, specific government allocations. Hold on. Specific government allocations. They call it systemic preference by employers and banks. Oh, family, the employers who discriminate us for jobs, job discrimination, the banks who redline us, who deny us loans and all type of stuff. Oh, they call it preference by employer. They call these immigrants preference by employers, preference by banks. So how the hell can we ever have a black and brown coalition? It doesn't make sense because we don't use black as a color. So that's a dumb statement, period. But how can there ever be a black Latino coalition when they come in a country and they're more preferred by the same institutions that exclude us and deny us and reject us? They are welcome over here. They are allowed, to read word, they're allowed over here to replace us. Okay. So let's talk about the minority funding loophole, right? The dilution of resources. So affirmative action and minority businesses. This is why the language, family, those languages they did was tricky. And that's why when Tariq talked to that lawyer, that civil rights lawyer, he said, no, 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 no. We ain't doing that tricky language no more. No, ma'am. ADOS, FBA, descendants of freedmen. That's it. None of that tricky word, because affirmative action and minority businesses enterprise, that's MBE. So those programs were originally fought by our ancestors to remedy the specific legacy of U.S. chattel slavery and Jim Crow. The federal definition of socially and economically disadvantaged was expanded to include almost all non-white groups. We died, we got jailed, we fought, we got blackballed, discriminated against, all that stuff. But everybody is able to eat off our plate. And guess what? There's no food for us. It's not even leftovers. Okay. So, check this out, family. This is deep. An immigrant from a country with no history of U.S. oppression can arrive here legally and qualify as a minority business enterprise, MBE. They can compete for the same set-aside government contracts as foundational Black American descendants of slavery. In many cities, MBE contracts are disproportionately awarded to Hispanic or Asian owned firms, family. What we fought for, what was set aside for us, they are disproportionately awarded to Hispanic or Asian owned firms rather than foundational Black American firms, despite the programs often being justified by the Black struggle, by our struggle. Now, I talked about refugees and asylees. Watch this. Uh, so now, family, outreach teams. Listen to me. Outreach teams. Matter of fact, let me throw that cash at, because what y'all gonna hear tonight, you ain't never heard me nowhere before. If you did, I'm gonna give that person flowers. But I don't think I ever heard this before. Okay, if you did, let me know. Let's get that person their proper flowers. Outreach programs. Okay. So there is a distinct difference between the safety net available to a poor U.S. citizen and the resettlement package available to certain immigrants, refugees, asylees. These guys get special treatment. Hold on. Let me fix this laptop. Give me a second. Let me adjust this laptop. I got it angled. I don't want it to fall. Yes, it's about to get deep. It's about to get deep. The hell? What the hell? Okay. Okay. Check out this. Refugee benefits. Refugees and successful asylum seekers are eligible for immediate federal assistance through the Office of Refugee Resettlement, ORR. So, family, while we be in line, they skip the line. Matter of fact, they just walk straight to the door. No line. We in that long line. These guys just walk right in. They got an appointment. This can include cash assistance, medical assistance, and case management specifically designed to help them get housing and jobs quickly. Excuse me? So this is how they're able to gentrify us. Remember I talked about white Americans got a history of welfare, 100 years of it just given to them, HOLC, FHA, the New Deal, the GI Bill, the Homestead Act, 1862. They're just giving wealth, ain't earned shit. Well, now, as you can see, immigrants come over here, ain't earned shit, and they're given wealth. They're given housing quickly. It's designed to get them housing and jobs quickly. Watch this. A typical Black American family in poverty applies for TANF, which is welfare. That replaced the ADC, AFDC, or you can call it Section 8, which some of us know. It's more popular, Section 8. Which often have years-long waiting lists. If anybody know about the housing, low-income housing, family, 2, 3, 5. If you guys apply for housing, you're in that waiting list 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years for some people. Okay, so when we apply for TANF, welfare, Section 8, that normally have years of a waiting list to get cash assistance, housing, job training. A refugee family may get fast-tracked support because their funding comes from a different federal bucket aimed at international relations, not domestic poverty. Okay, we talk about pooling, we talk about informal credit. And watch this. How we always wonder, how do Black immigrants buy homes or businesses in Black neighborhoods if they're poor? How, Sway? Okay. Um, they often bypass the American banking system that rejects foundational Black Americans, ADOS, descendants of freedmen. That's how. So, rotating savings. There's something called ROSCA. Okay, ROSCA, ROSCA. Many immigrant groups, not just Latinos, West Africans. Oh, I worked hard. Rosca, Rosca. You worked hard, Rosca. Oh, I worked hard, West African. I worked hard, Caribbean, Rosca. I worked hard, Asian, Latino. We worked hard, Rosca. Okay. So many immigrant groups like that use informal lending circles called Susses, Tandis, or Hueys. 10 people contribute $1,000 a month. Each month, one person gets the $10,000 lump sum cash. Right? This old third world stuff. So they can make cash offers on homes or businesses in distressed Black neighborhoods without needing a bank loan or a credit score. So they do this little pyramid scheme. Cool. Cool. That ain't working hard. That ain't your personal savings. You dig? Okay. So how about multi-generational housing? Immigrant families are often willing to live, which we talk about this, 3 to 4 generations or multiple families in one home to pay the mortgage. Now, this is un-American. That's not the American way. That's a third world way. Okay. But whatever works, right? But that's not the American way. We were scarred by that because remember, we had to deal with overcrowding. Overcrowding was systemic for us. It was designed because of the racial zoning laws and the restrictive covenants. So yeah, so we ain't trying to be 3, 4, 5 deep in the house because that's trauma now. We were forced to live like that. We were not allowed to move out the neighborhood, no matter how rich we were. So anyway, so 3, 4, this is what Tariq Nasheed always talk about. It's a fact. So those 3, 4 generations of multiple families living in one home to pay the mortgage, that allows them to outbid a Black American family relying on a single or dual income to pay rent. Because the average Black family is just one person, single parent, most likely in our cases, or a married couple. But it's 5 of y'all, and y'all talking shit. Okay, so now we're going to talk about systemic bias, the preferred minority. Okay, you ready? So there's a model minority myth and anti-Black stereotypes, right? Banks often redline foundational Black Americans. I'll say it again slower. Banks often redline foundational Black Americans, okay, our neighborhoods, or they view our Black applicants as high risk due to credit scoring models based on historical disadvantage, right? However, some banks view immigrant applicants as upwardly mobile and have created specific programs for those with thin files, little to no credit history. Okay. Many employers, even in construction, service, and tech. You see, ICE was all on those construction farms. They call it a farm, right? Construction sites. So many employers admit to preferring immigrant labor, legal or illegal, over Black American labor, family. This is systemic racism in your face. Racial discrimination. This is job discrimination. This is preferral or preference discrimination. Because of stereotypes, historical stereotypes about us. Lazy, criminal, violent, all that type of stuff. And also, family, a lot of employers don't want us because we're likely to sue when we're racially targeted at the job. We're going to sue. But these immigrants, they're not going to sue. We definitely are. Okay, so immigrants are, their stereotype ain't much better. their stereotype is docile, right, or willing to work for less without complaint. So that shuts Black Americans out of the very jobs being created in our own gentrifying neighborhoods. So when you say stealing Black jobs, there's your proof. Okay. There is a massive network of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and nonprofits specifically funded to assist immigrants. Where were these agencies for us? So grant funding, these organizations receive millions in grants from foundations and governments specifically for new Americans, quote unquote, new Americans. How about the ESL factor? Okay. Schools and community centers receive extra, listen to this, extra federal Title III funding specifically for English language learners. They're getting funded to teach these guys English. Now, let me be clear. Most of the immigrants that come over here that don't, not gonna say most, I'm gonna say a lot of those that don't speak English, these are normally, most likely, the illegals. All right. So the illegals get special funding to learn English. So there is no comparable massive federal funding stream specifically for Ebonics or AAVE speakers, what they call us, or specifically for the cultural reacclimation of Foundation Black America in distressed cities. Nothing for us. Okay. When a city faces a budget crisis, they might cut general community services, rec centers, libraries that happen in my city, used by Black Americans, while migrant outreach remains funded because it often tied to state or federal mandates. This is deep. So by 2026 standards, this is increasingly recognized not just as immigration, but as a form of economic displacement where the native bottom caste is bypassed by newcomers who are given structural ladders or build their own that the native Black Americans we were denied. But they'll tell us, hey, no, let's support ICE. Support your replacement. I mean, they're illegal. Like these ain't even legal immigrants. But even the legal ones, like, why would we be behind you? Why? Like your design, it might not be your own fault, but you're used as a pawn on the chessboard to stick it to us, whether you know it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, and whether you like it or not. You're being used as a pawn to stick it to descendants of chattel slavery in the United States of America. Okay. So that is basically the short version. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh man, what is this? Give me a second. I'm gonna let y'all go in a second. I gotta come back on. I think I got a topic at 1 a.m. I'm not sure. Come on. I think I had a topic at 1 a.m. What is wrong with this? Just reading the chats. So we got a $2 super chat donation from the Black Gen X. $2. Thank you very much. Well appreciated. We got Dominique. Ron, keep up the great work. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Oh, I see a $10 super chat I missed. Hold on, I got you. FBA Convo, $5 super chat. Shout out to all the FBAs in the building. We1B1, stay on code. Facts. And we got a $10 super chat from Squib King. Okay. America for the FBA, reparations and restitution for Black America. Only, no political shills. So, family, this is one of my more serious lives. Because sometimes I'll be on here having fun too. You feel me? But I like to be serious sometimes, right? I don't want to be seen as like a clown or, taken unseriously. So yeah, this is one of the serious lives where I'm giving great information, straightforward. But you'll catch. I see a $20 super chat there. I didn't miss you. I got you. So we got sick and tired of sick and tether tired. $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ron, for breaking down the immigrants finesse against FBA. It is systemic racism in a nutshell. Exactly. And like Tariq Nasheed always says, allow, even though he doesn't go into great details, because a lot of times he just winging it. But this is worth digging deep behind it. So now you know for sure. All right. Let me see if I missed anything. So anyway, immigrants, legal or undocumented, they come here with less wealth, limited English, no political power, no institutional access. Okay. They don't come with banks, zoning boards, tax abatements, or redevelopment authorities. Okay. Um, the gentrification is started. So let's put this pin the tail on donkey. The gentrification is not started by immigrants, legal or illegal. So that's not the message here. Okay, it's from the developers, it's just white people, goddamn, developers, banks, city governments, universities, and hospitals. Okay, corporate landlords, federal and state housing policy. So it's really just black versus white. And because they're in a powerful position, they can play like this. They can play with us because this is why they have the wealth. We don't have the wealth. But if we had the wealth, we can say, all right, we're gonna make them work for us. We're gonna make them work for us. All right. So before, so the stage was pretty much set for us to fail as from the program I listed earlier. So the stage was set in 1933. All right. It wasn't like it just started for us to fail. So or not to have much, not own much. So when tethers come over here and start to point the finger at our current condition and refuse to learn about why we're in this condition, that's why we call them tethers. Right. So before immigrants entered the picture, our neighborhoods, Black American neighborhoods, were already weakened by, like I said, historical disinvestment, redlining, HOLC, FHA that I broke down, urban renewal. I forgot to say that. Urban renewal, when they ran highways through our affluent cities, Negro removal is what it really was. They had, like I said, highway construction through Black areas, denial of mortgages and business loans. So that meant low property values, aging housing stock, fewer Black owned businesses, renters instead of owners. That was the goal. Like I said, ownership is the beginning of generational wealth. So they want us to be poor forever. So they're going to make sure they do whatever it takes that we don't become homeowners. Anybody who's a homeowner, they should feel really, really blessed. So the system often treat immigrants as temporary outsiders, but they look at foundation Black Americans as permanent problems. They look at immigrants as temporary outsiders. They look at foundation Black Americans as permanent problems. Okay, because we're seen as politically demanding. We're seen as associated with risk, right? We'll sue, we'll march, we'll protest, we'll boycott. We've been penalized by credit scoring and policing. We've been blocked by racial bias in lending and hiring. They don't have that history. So immigrants. So that's how we're framed. Immigrants, on the other hand, is framed as hardworking, made up bullshit, but in their homeland is non-existent. Aspirational, how you ran from your homeland. Non-confrontational, really to be violent as hell. Good for revitalization, right? So that is racial bias, not merit. So it wasn't their hard work, because the Charlie Kirks of the world would talk about meritocracy. Oh, it was merit. Immigrants are where they are because of merit, just hard work and educated. And stop. So like I said, government and NGO resources are often redirected from us to them. Outreach programs for us, when there's like resources and money in our cities, no outreach program let us know. Our Democrat representatives don't the Jasmine Crockett's don't be like, hey, Foundation Black America, look what we got here, we got money. That don't happen. The ESL, spoke about the ESL and the workforce funding. So English language programs, job training, and small businesses assistance are often targeted by immigration status, administration by NGOs located in Black neighborhoods, in our neighborhoods, but we don't get them. Not equally accessible to us in our neighborhoods, by the way. So Foundation Black Americans are assumed to already speak English, so no support, even when literacy gaps exist due to underfunded schools. How about minority programs quietly redefined? This is the part I want y'all to understand. Minority programs quietly redefined right before our eyes. This is why they get us out the neighborhood. Gentrifies, kick us out, and whatever that program is called, they mix it, they switch it up to Hispanic, whatever. Many programs once designed to address historic Black exclusion were broadened to include recent immigrants, foreign-born minorities, non-citizens. And the result, same pot of money, more claimants, no acknowledgement of lineage-based harm. So not more money's into the bucket. It's the same amount of money. Now it's just spread it out to more people. So people get to step in front of us for the monies and resources that was for us. So it dilutes the impact without fixing root causes, right? Lending and housing, the quiet double standard. All right. So banks historically deny Foundation Black Americans, FHA loans, conventional mortgages, small business credit, commercial leases, even with stable income, citizenship, long local history, still excluded, still rejected, still denied. Meanwhile, immigrants sometimes access ethnic lending networks, community credit associations, government-backed microloans, and NGO-backed guarantees. So it's not because immigrants are favored, but because risk is racialized. Just another way for redlining. Okay, so let's talk about the displacement. So we, Black American residents, are priced out or pushed out. Developers buy cheap property. Immigrants move into transitional housing, often as renters. I don't know, like somebody rent to them and they're not even legal. Someone not even legal citizens. And like, how they being rented to with no credit history, no job history? Just anyway. Property values rise. Immigrants are later displaced too, right? That's later. That's a fact. And white professionals move in. So family, the way it works is that it looks bad if they gentrify us. It looks bad. And white folks move into our neighborhoods because, gentrification is bad. It has a negative look on white society and America. So what they do is they replace us with immigrants. Oh, minorities replacing minorities. What's so wrong about that? And then, so the immigrants become placement holders, fam. This is deep. Immigrants become placement holders for white people. They become the buffers for white people. So when they rent homes and do all this 6, 8, 10 people in a house, and when we're displaced, we're in Atlanta, Texas, California, who knows, South Carolina, Virginia. Those immigrants, they're later pushed out and replaced. They're just holding the city occupied for white people to finish the job. But it looks really bad politically when they come into our city and buy it up and kick us out. It's not a good look for white supremacy. So they're later displaced too. So the white professionals move in. All right. So like I said, immigrants are they're often buffers, not beneficiaries. They don't stay long, but they're, like I said, they're the pawn on the board. Yeah. So we pay the historical costs. We built the neighborhoods. We survived segregation and exclusion. We were denied ownership, and then we watch others get access without the debt. So that's not xenophobia. That is structural memory. That's not being divisive. Okay, so the question is, did racism block out Black Americans and not immigrants? In many cases, that's yes. And like I said, it won't always be directly, it'll be indirectly. Oftentimes, some of them don't even know. It doesn't matter, it's still happening. So we're trying to tell them like, yo, you're being used. And to thumb your nose down on us is like ridiculous. Okay, so the system avoids confronting our claims, Black claims. All right. Immigration is treated as economic input. Black Americans were treated as political liabilities. This is why lineage-based delineation matters. This is why lineage reparations matter. Okay. So technically, immigrants don't really gentrify us. The system displace us, and they use immigrants to cover white capital movement. So we're ultimately gentrified by white people, but they just use Hispanics to displace us. They favor them in programs, monies, outreach program, things like that. So like I said, oftentimes, most times, they don't even know. But if you don't know, we know, and you're acting like you did something special, you did like you worked so hard, that's the disrespect. Like we're trying to put them on game. Like, yo, nah, that ain't it. Like you're being allowed, Tariq Nasheed voice, you're being allowed job opportunities, housing opportunities, bank loans. That's allowed. They're trying to get to us, but they are getting to us, and they're using you. So they like you're in the way. All right. So hope you guys like that. I had another topic. I will try to get back on 1 o'clock. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. And then, but I definitely wanted to talk about some other things. I appreciate y'all. Whoever didn't like the video, make sure you like it on your way out. And you dig, matter of fact, where's my outro? Where's my outro? I hope y'all love the live. Very informational. A lot of information.
We have to start supporting ourselves. We have to add value to our content and our voices.
Hey, haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me at home, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they done. Cash app, $sign on box rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me at home, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they done. Cash app, $sign on box rhyme. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me at home, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. him or they dumb. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him or they dumb. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. I'm really real one of them, I'm really him, I'm really always standing on 10. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them, I'm really him, I'm really always standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him or they dumb. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support me your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him or they dumb. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. Please don't hate on it. Please support on it, hate on it. I'm really one of them ones, I'm really him or they dumb. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme. Cash app, dollar sign on by his rhyme.